OK, today I want to talk about heroes. Those brave men and women who risk their lives to stop criminals killing, robbing or hurting others. Last week, a bunch of those heroes sprang into action when two suspected robbers, one apparently wielding a golf club, the other a baseball bat, raided a Leicester co-op demanding cash. When our heroes saw what was happening, they tackled one of the robbers, stopping him from escaping, even though his accomplice reportedly drove the getaway car at them. The police are still investigating exactly what happened next, but the suspect robber died in hospital the next day, and one of the people who'd helped restrain him was arrested. My question is, why was he? And why are so many other have-a-go heroes dragged through our courts simply because we're trying to protect themselves, their families, or members of the public? Why isn't it OK to stop the bad guys who threaten our lives? Why are the rights of criminals now more important than those of their terrified victims? In 2011, the then Justice Secretary Ken Clarke said people had a right to stab anyone who came into their homes. He even said they could hit them across the head with a poker. So why should we care if criminals get hurt or killed in the process of trying to do exactly that to us? Why shouldn't the public fight back with the same force that's being used on them? The police would never dream of prosecuting those incredible people who risked life and limb taking on the terrorists on London Bridge. Those people saved lives. So why are our have-a-go heroes still being criminalised for trying to do exactly the same thing?
Well, I'm going to surprise you, Carole, by basically saying I agree with you in part.
Really? Whoa.
Yes, that I do actually think it's an instinct in all of us.
Say it again. Just say it again, because I'll never hear it again.
No, you won't hear it again, but I agree with you in part. I said in part.
In part.
Because it is an instinct. I mean, I'm one of these people who's got a baseball bat under the bed.
Me too.
Just in case someone... I mean, what I do, God only knows. But, I mean, and I somehow think that, yes... people have to react to people who are criminals. And the people who are doing things that are wrong, we should try to do something about that. The problem is it's proportionate, isn't it? What's proportionate? You know, what is acceptable and what isn't? It's not acceptable to have a gun under your bed and shoot if someone breaks in downstairs, I don't think.
Isn't it?
You probably think it is. I probably don't.
No, if he comes at you with a knife, maybe, or if he comes at you with a gun,
it's
why not?
What is proportionate? What action should you take? Of course, the police don't like it for all sorts of reasons, which you fully understand. I mean, well, you know, are we encouraging vigilantes by doing this? I mean,
the trouble with proportionate, Greg, is that when a robber breaks into your house, or a rapist or whatever, and he's armed with a gun or a knife or a baseball bat, there is no proportionate response in him. He's coming at you and he's not thinking about doing it gently, so you can't respond gently back. People have to be pumped up to actually have a go at someone. It takes a huge amount of courage and it takes a huge amount of gumption to do it, and so you're not thinking about proportion. A lot of people who have hit back have hurt burglars and robbers and have been prosecuted as a result because they don't have time to think about a proportionate response. And I just think, you know, the perception out there for the public now is that, you know, the minute something like this happens, the police straight away go for the people who've tried to stop it.
You say they arrest. They have not. Arrest isn't charging. Arrest is a different thing. And
but even arresting someone who breaks a householder, someone breaks into his home, they threaten his wife, his family, his kids, and he's terrified that something's going to happen, and he's the one who gets arrested and taken for questioning to prison. Some of these guys are held for 24 hours. Even that's excessive. They shouldn't be held for 24 hours.
When I was much younger and much fitter, I once chased somebody.
Oh, wow.
who a woman screamed, no, it's not a good end. A woman screamed that he dropped my bag, and I saw this guy running off with but I didn't see him with the bag. I saw him running off, so I chased him. And I was quite fast as a young man, so I got quite close to him. And as I got quite close to him, I said, "Stop, thief!" And he turned around and he said, "Look, you silly, I'm chasing him too." And I was so... And, of course, it was the guy, but I was so blown by this. He was black, so I thought, oh, God, I've fallen for those terrible stereotypes, all those terrible things.
Was he the robber?
I stopped and he disappeared.
But it's good that you had to go. And I think we can't become the kind of society that's a walk-on-by society.
Can I just say a couple of things? I completely disagree with you. I mean, when you said in your intro, why should we care? Well, part of the reason we should care is because innocent people get hurt. So in the case of Trayvon Martin, Robert Zimmerman thought that he was apprehending a criminal, and look what happened there. An innocent young boy lost his life for no reason at all. And I think if we remember back, remember when the Guardian Angels launched here? That was a disaster. In the same way it was a disaster in America. We should not be encouraging vigilantes. That's what law enforcement is for.
We're talking about people fighting back and having a go when they see man, woman, child, elderly person being hurt. People should fight back.
But I think that one has to also think a bit about self-defence, because yesterday I went to the meeting at the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea for Grenfell Tower.
Oh, did you go?
I did, and there was a woman security guard who was manning a barricade, and there was a couple of men who were, rattling the barricade, shouting in her face, and I sort of said to him, this doesn't help, you've got to calm down, at which point he shouts at me. So, you put yourself at risk as soon as you make it. Anyway, one time we were all asleep, it was the middle of the night, and we heard somebody break into the house downstairs. My husband was lying in bed, naked. He jumped out of bed. He ran downstairs. As he ran downstairs, the front door was flapping open. He saw somebody drive off in his own car. So, because he left his keys by the front door. My husband ran into the street.
Naked,
ran up his own street, chasing after his own car, and then a few minutes later came back and said, I couldn't really do very much in the circumstances.
Listen, let's hear what Sir Bernard Hogan-Howe, the ex-Met Police Commissioner, says about this. He says, my encouragement would always be for people, first of all, to try and get help on the phone. Secondly, if they can get some help, somebody to go and get involved with them. Thirdly, if you can make some noise, put that person on the back foot. He said, and if you can actually get stuck in, then give it a go. Because you could be that person waiting for help, and you'd hope somebody in the crowd is going to step forward, and that's exactly right.
But I kind of agree with you, Greg, because for me, if you ask me emotionally, what do I think? I think that a person either respects the law or they don't. So if they're going to come wandering into your house, then they're
charging.
Yeah, so then they are suggesting they don't respect the law.
Yes.
So therefore, anything could go in that situation if they've chosen not to respect the law. And I almost think that if there were more people that were having a go at people and there were consequences, more criminals might think twice if actually, they've seen something wrong happen. But let me just finish. But my but is, when I told my friend this story yesterday and I was going, if they come in your house, they get what they're given, not make them think twice, my mate then said to me, OK, but what about all those times when actually someone just don't like someone else, they've battered them, and then actually then they've pretended, there was an altercation, it was self-defence. How do you actually, because we want to live in a law-regulated society, don't we? We want to live in a society where we do adhere by the law. So if we actually just do whatever we want...
No, we're not saying
how
that.
Do we...
We're talking about people who are not dealing with the law, exactly what you